welcome back to my channel, beautiful people. If you are new here, my name is Krystle. I am a writer and an author in Houston, Texas. Welcome if you are new here, and if you are coming back, you already know what I'm gonna say. I greatly appreciate you. Now, let's talk about January footage, okay? My intention was to basically record any and everything and post weekly writing vlogs. Now that did not happen, okay, but I have a bunch of footage. I have actually hours of footage, and when I sat down to edit, yeah, let's just say what I envisioned is not what I captured, okay? And we're gonna make it work. So let's talk about January. So because December was such a hectic month for me, I came into the new year really wanting to take things slow. Now, there are some things that are priority for me this year, to include writing my first romance book. So just managing my time, taking things slow, getting rest, taking care of myself. There's quite a few things that I did not get organized coming into the year. So January was really meant to just set the tone for the rest of the year, to continue writing my book, and to get organized. And I'd say for the most part, I was successful in all of the above. But towards the end of January, I just started to feel this heaviness just from everything going on in the world. I'm not even going to touch on the specifics of that. If you have a television, if you have a smartphone, if you have access to the news, then you already know what I'm talking about. So just trying to protect my peace and protect what I like to call my creative joy became really hard for me towards the end of January. But I'd say all in all, I did end up ending the month in a much better place than I found myself like mid-January. I am happy to report that I have been making time for my solo dates, which is something that I've been doing for a couple of years now. So going on my solo dates, getting out of the house, I have been in the streets a little bit too, okay? But not too much, nothing too excessive. But let's talk about my writing. Let's talk about progress on my book and how I am feeling about what is the hardest thing that I have ever written, but it's also like I just feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and I love that for me. So one of the things that I try to be very mindful of with any creative goal that I have, especially writing, is making sure that I don't put it before my relationship with God. And if I'm honest, sometimes I am so excited, I am so focused on writing my book that everything else just kind of doesn't matter. And I don't want to make my writing, I don't want to make my creative goals an idol. I don't want to make it number one in my life, even though it is a priority. So showing up for myself as a writer means making sure that I keep my priorities in line. And I can't be the very best writer that I can be if I do it by myself. So I make it a habit of praying before I write and asking God to give me all the inspiration, give me the words, give me the plot, give me whatever it is that I need when I'm writing. And so definitely nurturing my relationship with God is super important to me in my writing process. So last year I started reading Jackie Hill Perry's Upon Waking. Now, what I love about this devotional is the fact that it requires me to study. Now, Jackie uses some words I ain't never used before, I've never read before. And so I love this devotional because reading it in one pass is not gonna do. I've highlighted, I've underlined, I've had to make notes, I've had to pull out the dictionary, I've pulled out my Bible, I've pulled out the concordance. Like, it has forced me to study the Bible, not just read a devotional and then go on about my day. So if you are looking for a devotional, something that's actually going to challenge you to study the Bible, because reading it and studying it is not the same thing, then I highly recommend this book. So if you have ever written a book, or basically if you've ever worked on anything, you know that time management is so important. And when it comes to writing a book will not write itself. And so managing my time is such an important part of writing, because there's all these things that I want to do, right? So it's spending time with family, spending time with my friends, spending time with myself, working on things that fill me up, working on my relationship with God. Like, all of those are things that I am mindful of every single day. And so when it comes to writing, having writing sprints, having time blocks where my focus is 100% on writing has allowed me to make so much progress. Now, one of the things that I struggled with when I first started writing this book was editing in real time. So essentially, let's say I would write a chapter, I'm going back and I'm editing and I'm changing, and no. In order to make real progress on this book, I had to stop editing as I go and just simply accept the fact that the first draft might be a whole hot mess. But it is what it is, okay? The first draft is going to be the first draft. And I don't know how many drafts it's going to take for me to get to my final draft. But the fact of the matter is, I will never make real progress if I edit in real time. And so I had to put a stop to that. And that's one of the best things I could have possibly done, because I have made so much progress so far in the book. Now, I did not reach my word count goal for the month of January. My goal was to get to 50,000 words, and I did not. However, I did get to 40,000 words, so I am quite proud of myself. And every time I reach another 10,000 words, I'm just like, wow, I remember when I had 0. So I'm not where I want to be just yet. I don't have a final first draft yet, but the fact that the story is evolving, like I am making progress, just makes me feel on top of the world. So I have these pep talks with myself as I'm working on the book, because there will be parts, like I'll write something and I'm like, oh, that was so good. Like, I'm over here tooting my own horn, and I'm like, I hope when somebody else reads this that they get just as excited, and they feel so enamored with the characters as I am. And that really just reminds me, like, there's something very vulnerable about being a creative, whether you are creating videos, whether you're writing, whether you're creating content. There's something very vulnerable about putting your time and effort into something and then putting it out into the world. But one thing that I'm reminded of is that I'm not writing a book for everyone. I'm writing a book for my people. And once the book is out and I'm sharing it and I'm telling people all about it and the characters and so on and so forth, I'm going to find my people. And my people are going to enjoy the stories that I tell. It is a snow day. This does not happen very often, but here we are. It's cold, y'all. It's cold. I think I got some shots earlier, but this is what the snow looks like now, and it just reminds me of when I lived in Virginia, and I will say that I am glad that this is going to be gone in a couple of days, because this is not a normal occurrence in Houston. So I'll be glad when it's gone, but for right now, it is pretty and I will enjoy it while it lasts. So I have decided that I am celebrating every single win. Now, progress is progress, okay? So I'm going to be happy for every bit of progress that I make from week to week working on this book. And when I get to 50K words, I am going to celebrate. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I really would like to buy a new laptop, but that's not really a priority right now. But when I get to 50,000 words, I am going to do something to celebrate. And for context, I'm thinking that the goal is to get to 100K words. And right now I'm feeling like I'm going to write more than 100K words, because I'm not even to the middle of the book yet. And I'm at 40K words. But again, this is my first time doing this, so we shall see where I land when this is all over. But I am going to celebrate throughout this process. If you are working on something, if you are a beginner in something and you feel like you have no earthly idea what you're doing, please celebrate. Celebrate yourself for even trying. And as you're going through the process, celebrate every single win. I know that I am. So for the last couple of weeks, I just wanted to write in my house. Now, I typically do go to coffee shops to write. I work from home, so getting a change of scenery is always something that I look forward to. And I just love coffee. I love matcha. I love coffee shops. I love aesthetically pleasing places. So for whatever reason, though, during January, I just preferred to write at home, and I did have the itch to get out of my house the last week of January, and so I made it a point to get out. And I think it was it was a Saturday. I actually decided to go to 2 coffee shops that day, and I got a lot of writing done. One thing that I told myself coming into this year is that as this year unfolds, that I would not forget who I am and whose I am. And who knew all the things that were going to transpire in just the first month, or just in the last 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of January. But as this year unfolds, I encourage you, like I'm encouraging myself, to remember who you are and whose you are. I don't plan on letting up at all on my goals, on writing this book, on my creative endeavors. I am not giving up. There is no turning back on this book. Like the fact that I've even gotten to the point where I'm at now, there's absolutely no turning back. And I do believe that where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm going to give myself time to rest this year. I'm going to give myself the space to feel, to process all that's happening in the world, or even things that are happening within me. But I'm going to keep my eyes on the prize. I'm going to keep my eyes on this project and remember my why, and remember all the time that has slipped through my hands and I wasn't able to focus on this one thing that I have dreamed and hoped for. So whatever you are hoping for, whatever you are praying for in 2025, no matter what happens, I hope that you remember why you started in the first place, and I'm going to be right there with you.